Ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up, but we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 302. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for the Rated G Network, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Rated G for Gamers. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man?
We got a good one. Got a good one today, Dan. We are starting the year off strong. We have, and I'm very excited, and I know you're very excited to have this guy on, Leroy Patterson, the Human Tackboard, the King of Sneak King. Special guest on the show a little bit later in the show, so stay tuned for that. I am very excited to talk to him. He has got a lot of cool things going on in his life that we're going to get into.
You know, I never met a person who loved a Burger King game as much as this guy does.
I know. We need to figure out what compelled this man to get 2,106 copies, I think, was the grand total that he got of copies of Sneak King. You know
what? Guess what? Burger King put out 3 games. He didn't like the other 2 games. I like the racing game better than
Big Bumpin' has nothing on Sneak King. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. I like Big Bumpin'. I like Big Bumpin'.
It's okay. You know, it's no Sneak King. You get to play as the king, baby. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But you know. So how about you? How you doing?
So recently, all right. So I'm doing pretty good. So I recently, Sony put out the link so you can check your PlayStation stats for 2021, right? I love that they do this, right? I usually tweet it out. I didn't get a chance to tweet it out, yet. Maybe I'll tweet it out after the show. Windows and Xbox, they don't do this. They give you your stats. Like, it's crazy. They should. I think.
I know.
Especially last year, I played a lot of Switch, right? So I did the link. So I played. How many hours of PlayStation you think I played last year?
A lot.
Collectively.
A lot. Is that an appropriate answer? Okay, I would say
Not as much as I thought. Not as many hours as I thought. I'll be honest.
It's hard to say.
I think I played more Switch than anything.
Okay. I could see that. I'm going to say like 200?
Okay, so a little bit under. A little bit under.
By how much? Under. Like 10? 15?
Under. No, I played 176 hours.
Okay. All right.
Collectively.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah. So I played 62 hours in a PS4.
Okay.
And I played 114 hours in a PS5.
All right.
Which I'm trying to think, how does that make sense? Because I got the PS5 in like February or maybe March, right? So I must have played 62 hours of PS4 between January and March.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's, yeah.
I'm trying to think, what game did I play in between, like, those just 3 months? I had 62 hours worth of gaming.
That's a good question. I don't know. Because you weren't... You weren't big on Returnal. You weren't big on Deathloop. I know you went back to Death Stranding a little bit, but
So I went back to Death Stranding. I went back to Ghost of Tsushima, the director's cuts, right? I beat Uncharted 4 again when I first got the PlayStation.
There you go.
The PS5.
There you go.
All right, so those are all PS5 games. Ratchet and Clank,
Rift Apart, sure.
Rift Apart.
Yeah.
So I played that. So I mean, again, I haven't even turned the PS4 on since March.
Right.
So,
Right.
So 62 hours of playing the PS4 for only 3 months. I don't even know what I played on the PS4. How many games do you think? How many different games do you think I played on the PlayStation?
Like combined PS5, PS4, all that? Yeah. 25. 25.
Under. I thought it would be 25 too, to be honest. I thought it would be like a little bit over 25. I only played 17 different games. In 2021.
Okay.
Now, here's something that totally shocked me. Totally shocked me. What do you think? They listed as game of the year because it's the game you played, you put the most hours in.
Okay.
So, what game do you think I put the most hours in?
I mean, I was going to say Ratchet and Clank, but it's probably not Ratchet and Clank, is it? Because you're saying it surprised you. It's not. Was it Uncharted 4? Because you went back and played it again, and then you put all that time into it?
It wasn't Uncharted 4. I thought it would be Uncharted 4 too, or Ratchet and Clank, but it wasn't.
Ghost of Tsushima, because of the new DLC? I don't know. I don't know.
Nope.
You're shaking your head. I don't know. Spider-Man?
Nope.
I don't know.
It was the original
Miles Morales?
Spider-Man.
Oh, the original one.
No, it was the original Spider-Man.
Okay.
I remember I told you when I got the original PS when I got the PS5, I got Miles Morales with Spider-Man, so you get the 4K visuals and stuff.
Yep.
I beat Spider-Man again
In the enhanced visuals.
In the enhanced visuals, and it had the DLC. So nice. I beat the deal. I played the DLC and beat that too. And I put 20 hours into Spider-Man.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, the Spider-Man itself takes like 23, 24 hours.
Sure.
But
sure.
I knew where to go, what to do at this point.
Yeah, you kind of streamlined it a little bit. Yeah. So
I kind of streamlined it a little bit. Ratchet and Clank was number 2 at 18 hours.
Yeah. I figured it was close.
Yeah. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, 17 hours.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that one.
NBA 2K21, 16 hours.
Right. All right.
And Uncharted, it has it listed as Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection because that, you can get all the Uncharted for free. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the new one that's coming out, well, as of this recording next week. But when you hear this, it'll be this week. They have it listed as that. But, when you first get the PlayStation, with PS5, you can get the Legacy Collection.
Right.
Of, Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy and stuff. Those 16 hours. I beat Uncharted 4 again, but I already knew what to do, so I wasn't exploring or anything. I went straight through it. So those are my top 5 games I played on PlayStation. Nice.
So I just pulled up my stats too because I was kind of curious. And
wait. Okay. Wait.
Oh, you got something?
I'm gonna guess
yours.
Keep
yours.
going.
Okay. So total hours played.
306 trophies.
Oh, for you, 306 trophies.
Year. For me.
Oh,
306 trophies.
Wow. Okay.
I don't have time. I don't have time to have platinum trophies.
I don't have a single platinum trophy. Period. I don't think. Because platinum is full completion, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah. Full completion. I have 4 or 5 platinum trophies because I beat the Telltale games.
I was just going to say, they're always the Telltale games because those are easy wins. Yeah,
all the Telltale games.
Which, hey, no shame. You beat the game, and that's important. And you completed it.
And apparently, I have got 37 PS Plus games I redeemed. I redeemed 37 PlayStation Plus games.
There you go. Taking advantage of that online service for sure.
No, that's a lie. It says 51 51 PlayStation Plus games I added to my library.
Okay.
So that was my 2021. So for you, total hours played, I would say 125.
A little under 98 total hours.
Okay.
And okay, I'll keep this kind of brief. How many games do you think I played, and what is the game that I put the most amount of time into? This should be easy.
This is easy. You played maybe less than 10 games.
I played 11 games.
I knew it.
You were right there.
I knew it.
Okay.
I was right there.
And what is the game? This is the slam dunk. This is the layup right here.
Ghost of Tsushima or Last of Us Part 2. It is one of those two.
I'm going to pretend you did. Yeah. No, think about it, Dan. What is the one game that I've been talking about like crazy that you're like, nah, I'm not about it?
You put Death Stranding. You played more Death Stranding than anything?
Dan. Seriously?
Oh, wait. Okay, I'm thinking of 2020.
Yeah, it begins with an R.
No way.
I put 58 hours into Returnal, Dan, last year.
No way. Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. That is more than half the total amount of hours that I put into this game.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Okay, what's your top five?
Well, Returnal, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Knockout City, played a little bit of that. Guilty Gear Strive, and Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown are the
I knew
top
Guilty
five.
Gear. I knew Guilty Gear would be on the list.
Yeah.
I knew Guilty Gear would be on the list. Okay.
Not as many hours as I should be putting into that game. Only 4 hours total. So I really spent a lot of time with Returnal. And I surprisingly
Returnal.
Returnal. I do. I surprisingly put less hours into Deathloop than I have Virtua Fighter 5, which is weird.
I'm not surprised. You didn't beat Deathloop.
No, but I mean, I played it for. I played it. I thought I played it for more than 3 hours.
No, I know, but I know your gaming habits, Dave.
Do you?
Gaming habits. I
do. You? Okay.
I do. So you for the show, if you get the game, you put like a couple of hours into it, right? And it could be a Dave game, right? You could love that. You love that.
I do love Deathloop.
Game.
Deathloop is great.
But if you have other games in the mix, like Metroid Dread and Returnal, that games that you haven't beaten because you like to play on a hard mode, which takes longer time than most, right?
You're right.
Easy or normal.
You're right.
Right. You'll play it. Say, hey, you know what? I think this game is pretty good because you play it for the show. Right, because you have Game of the Year talk. You have Game of the Year talk, and you want to be in the zeitgeist, right? Like it's out now, and we both got it, and then you'll put it away, and then you'll play it later on, which we'll talk about what games we've been playing.
That's right.
Which is the perfect example.
That's
right, of a game that you should have played a long time ago, but you're
not wrong, Dan. I mean, people.
So I know your habit. I know your habits with games. I know how you are. So, but listen, we have an awesome show this week, right? We got a lot to talk about. We have a special guest that we'll have at the end of the show. We're going to talk about the newest, biggest video game acquisition in history that does involve Microsoft. Right? Because last week we had the biggest video game acquisition in history that didn't involve Microsoft. And now we have the newest biggest video game acquisition in history that does involve Microsoft. Which is funny.
I thought that previous purchase would actually hold for a while, but no, less than a week.
Didn't even stand for a week.
Yeah. It's like that Drake meme, right? And like Take-Two buys Zynga, and it's like, nah. And then the one with Microsoft is like, yep, bring it in.
So, but before we get into any of that, let's begin the show with the notable games that are coming out in February. And remember, all game release dates that we talk about on the show come from Game Informer's list, right? A video game release list, right? So if you have any issue with the games that we talk about that are coming out, take umbrage with Game Informer because that's where I get it from.
There it is. There it is.
Right, yeah. So, notable games that come out in February. Let's start with Life is Strange Remastered Collection, right? That's supposed to be out February 1st. I don't know. Is February 1st a Tuesday? I think that's a Tuesday.
I think it may be, yeah.
Yeah. So you get the whole collection, all 3 games. I don't know if you get the prequel to the first one.
Before the Storm?
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I'd hope so, considering, I mean, if it's complete, yeah.
It's supposed to come out for the PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. No Stadia.
Yeah,
Stadia.
that would be the perfect game to play on Stadia because it's an adventure game. It's an exploratory adventure puzzle game. It'd be great for Stadia.
Dying Light 2, Stay Human. It's supposed to come out PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC February 4th. I could have sworn this got delayed, so don't quote me on this. I think this got delayed a little bit, but if not, February is a great spot for it to come out, right? I think early Christmas 2, as we call it, is a great spot for this to come out in.
Oh yeah.
Sifu, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, PC, February 8th. Right, so that's supposed to come out. I definitely want to pick this up. I hope there's a physical edition. I really do.
Did you get to play the demo of this? I forget. I don't know if I
didn't even know there was a demo.
Yeah.
I would play the demo.
Had it out for a bit. I think the demo is still out. I think you can download it on the PlayStation.
I didn't know there was a demo. I would play the demo.
I think so.
I didn't know there was a demo. Assassin's Creed: The Ezio Collection for the Switch. Ezio, right? It's coming out February 17th.
Sure.
So that's coming out. I already have this for the. I think I have it for Xbox. If I'm not mistaken.
Probably, yeah. 360, yeah.
The King of Fighters 15. This is definitely waiting for this. Brian, my friend Brian, who loves fighting games, who doesn't have a next gen console, current gen console, or last gen console.
Okay.
Big King of Fighters fan. Wants to play this.
Sure.
So that's coming out for PS5, Xbox Series systems, PS4, and PC. Also February 17th.
Yeah.
I will pick this up just so
good.
Brian can come to my house and play the King of Fighters 15.
Right. It's a long storied history of King of Fighters, right? They used to come out every year. It'd be King of Fighters 94, 95, all the way up to like 2003 or 4. And they switched over to 3D, and, it took them a little bit to get there, but I think by the time they got to 14, they kind of worked it out, and everyone seems to be pretty hyped for the new one. So
I'm pretty hyped to play the King of Fighters. I like the King of Fighters. You can't play it like Street Fighter, and that's the thing. You can't play it like Street Fighter. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
different style of game, just like Guilty Gear. I think this is more of a. I think, like, honestly, like if you play Guilty Gear or you play King of Fighters, you can play both of those games and be good, but you can't play it like Street Fighter. That's totally different sort of mechanics So Horizon Forbidden West coming out for PlayStation 5 and PS4. It is cross-gen, right?
First AAA title of the year? Is that
first AAA title of the year coming out February 18th? Not true. Wait, you sure? Because we talked about games that are coming out this month, and we had Pokemon, right? Pokemon was coming out as of this week.
Pokemon Legends Arceus. I suppose that is. I don't want to downplay that game. I mean, I guess it's AAA.
It's a game that I actually want to pick up. Funny enough.
Sure, I guess you consider Pokemon the first big game of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. And then lastly, coming out February 25th, Elden Ring for PS5, PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Xbox Series of consoles. A game I will not be picking up because I do not care about Elden Ring and anything that's like a Demon Souls style game.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy this game is finally coming out. So now George R.R. Martin can finish the damn books. Because he was involved with the lore of Elden Ring, I believe.
He was.
Right? And it's like, dude, you have these Game of Thrones books that people love, and you have at least one more, if not two more books to put out. Finish the damn books. Come on.
I will own this game. You know when I'll own this game?
When it's $5 on sale?
Next holiday season when it's on sale.
Yeah, of course.
And everything. Yes.
Yeah. Will you play it? No, it's not your jam.
It will be forever sealed.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So, I just want to talk a little bit about Nintendo Online, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we definitely talked about Nintendo Online, the expansion pack, and how it's not worth the money for Dave, but I think it's worth the money because I play,
It's
Genesis
not.
games.
No, I think in general, it's not really. Well,
you get the
worth it.
rewind feature with the Genesis games, right?
Uh-huh.
And
You do.
You don't get the rewind feature with the N64 games, but it is cool to play the N64 games in general, right? Nintendo confirms that Majora's Mask is a Switch Online game that they will release in February. So I do look forward to that because I played Majora's Mask on the DS or like the Nintendo DS, like the one that they didn't. It wasn't the clamshell, right? They came out one holiday season.
The 2DS, yeah.
The 2DS. That wasn't a clamshell, right? That was, I guess, meant mostly for kids, and it was specifically for. It had it already in the system. So I played a little bit of it and I thought, oh, this is cool. I can't wait to play more of it. And I just haven't. So I get a chance to play that. Banjo Kazooie, right? It's coming out this week. So if you listen to the show, it should be out already, right? I haven't played Banjo Kazooie in years. So I get a chance to play that. That's awesome too.
That is the big one. That opens the door. Banjo Kazooie makes way for obviously Banjo Tooie. That makes way for Conker's Bad Fur Day. That makes way for Perfect Dark. That makes way for Diddy Kong Racing. All of the great non-Nintendo games were Rare games. All right?
Yes.
It's pretty much where it began and ends. It was Nintendo when Rare were holding up that console. So I don't doubt they would put more on there. So at least you kind of have that to go on. I mean, this is starting to make it more appealing. If they can continue to do like one a month.
Paper Mario. They added Paper Mario a couple of weeks ago.
Sure. Paper Mario's good too, and that's actually a big adventure. I don't think a lot of people have necessarily played that because it was on the N64, so you're adding value. But if you can do one new game a month, you maybe get 2-3 years if you're lucky out of that. Because I mean, how many games can you port, that aren't Nintendo and Rare games? And there's only so many of those. You got a couple Mario parties. Super Mario 64 is already on there. The 2 Zelda games, maybe if Wave Race isn't on there, you put that on there. Maybe you get like 2 years out of it.
Wave Race needs to be on it. It's a great game.
It is. It's a fantastic game. Yeah.
So, Dave, as we always try to start the show, but epically fail.
Oh?
What have you been playing?
300 some odd episodes, and we're still going strong. I love it. We're 20 minutes in, and we finally got to the best part of the show. I have been playing Mass Effect, I think it's called the Legendary Edition on the Series X. Because started playing it, and I fell off like right away. So I was like, I need to get back into this because it's 3 damn games. I know it's a lot of time, but I got some time right now. So I said, you know what? Let me get into it. So I'm making a concerted effort to play and going through. Loving it so far. It was pretty easy to pick up where I left off because I was at the beginning of the game. So there wasn't much to catch up on. But having a good time with it. I will say the facial animations, they're not
much
great.
Improved. Well,
no, they're still not great. Like the textures are there, but like the mouth animations are still kind of like weird and stiff. Yeah, it's a little. They didn't update the animations, just the textures and the lighting and all that, which is much better. Don't get me wrong, but the other big one is Life is Strange, Dan. I completed
the original.
Life is Strange. That's
the
right.
The original. It's about time.
That's
okay.
Right. That's right.
How do you? Did you beat it? Right? You beat it.
Oh, I beat it. I beat chapter 5.
But how do you like it? No spoilers. But how do you like it?
Yeah, I mean, it is like a 5-year-old game, 6-year-old game. I'll try and not give any spoilers out there. I thought it was really good. Okay. The reveal in chapter 4, I had a pretty strong idea that there was something going down.
I didn't want to spoil it. I was trying to tell you. I was trying to say it, but I didn't want to spoil it for you.
Well, okay. I mean, the thing with like I'm going to be vague or whatever, but the thing with Victoria and the cigarettes was the thing that really like tipped me off to like what is going on. Right, because when you're trying to break into the school at night and you see the cigarettes in the one classroom, and you're like, and she comments on it, and I'm like, oh, there's some stuff that's going down. And then Chapter 4 gives you the reveal, and then Chapter 5 is where it all culminates, and you got to make the tough decision. And I went with the group on this one. I saved the group, and that's all I'll say.
All right, that's all you have to say. I went with the group too, but it was more of a tougher decision to go with the group, in my opinion. How I played the game.
Well, the thing that made it a bit easier is the other decision, the dialogue that the other person was saying made it a little bit easier because it was kind of giving me permission to do the thing, and I'm like, well. All right. They're on board with it, and I know it's if you're looking top down at the situation,
the thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. So I was like, all right, I can make that decision. So I did that. Okay. And yeah, so, it's good.
So I've been playing a little bit more of Marvel Spider-Man, just going through the world. Okay. New York City, beating bad guys, no story, right? Listening to podcasts. Just openly. Right now, after beating Lost Judgment, as I talked about last week, I'm trying to figure out what's my next game that I'm going to get into, right?
You've been saying, yeah.
Don't know. And I've been playing the Switch, been playing Yoshi's Story. So the second Yoshi game, right? Real, open, not open world, but platformer Yoshi game. Because Super Mario World 2, which wasn't really Super Mario World 2, was the
even though it says Super Mario World 2 on the cover and it stars Mario.
It is not Super Mario World 2. It is.
Well, that's what they called it, Dan. That's what they called it.
I don't care what they. Well, then it's one of the Super Mario Brothers games. Then it's a Super Mario Brothers game.
Yeah,
it's the first Super Mario Brothers game that you don't play as one of the Mario Brothers.
Yeah. You are controlling Yoshi and you have to save Mario. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Yeah, but it's a good game. It's a great game. Yeah.
So I've been playing that on Nintendo Online.
Did you play it when it came out, or is this your first time playing it? I forget.
This is my first time playing it, so I have no idea. I went in fresh. It's a little bit harder than I thought it would be. I thought it'd be super easy. Right. But it's an N64 game. They did make it a little bit harder, right? Especially the fourth level. Right? Okay. The fourth level, I want to. I mean, at this point, I don't know, if it's spoilers or anything, but
I don't think you can really spoil Yoshi's story. I don't know what the big reveal.
There's really no story. There's no really no story, but if you haven't played it and you're really looking forward to playing it, level 4 isn't as easy as the first couple of levels.
There you go. We're blowing the lid off this game right here.
Yeah, I will say that.
Oh, it's funny.
So it gave me a little bit more. It gave me some frustrations because I went through. The difference is with this game compared to the other games. The other Yoshi games, you have to a normal platformer. You get to the end of the level and that's it. Here, you have to eat a certain amount of fruit to get through the level.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to actually go through the level and find the fruit and eat them as Yoshi. So you can, you have to eat as much fruit as it goes around the screen. So get to the next level, right? So if you miss something, you got to go back.
Sure. So
I sort of appreciated the fact that it wasn't just get to the end of the level. It was, you have to eat a certain amount of fruit to get to the next level, which is a different take. And I think my mind would have been blown if I would have played this on N64 when it first came out. Like, you don't go to the end of the level. You can't just rush to the end of the level. You really got to concentrate and eat all the fruit.
Yeah, so, the innovative fruit mechanic, underrated.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying myself.
Nice. Okay.
Now I got to actually pay attention to what I'm doing, right? Maybe it will be, Saturday morning retro game that I'll talk about in the future.
Oh, shoot. All right.
But I mean, I am enjoying myself right now with that game.
Good deal.
So with that said, I'm going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get into the top games, top gaming news of last week. let's get into the top gaming news of last week. And we have to start with now the newest, biggest video game acquisition in video game history, which is that does involve Microsoft, right? Because last week it was Take-Two buying Zynga for like, I don't know, like $12 billion, $14 billion.
12, yeah. Like 12.3.
Yeah. This blows it out of the water. Okay. Microsoft has now agreed to buy Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion, which is double the war chest that Microsoft has in the bank. Right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of crazy.
That's insane. 69. Let's just call it 69 billion. Let's just round it up a little bit. 69 billion. Well, what's an extra 3 billion in this case? Or 300,000.
What's the extra 3? What's the extra? 300 million. Yeah, 300 million.
I mean, yeah,
1 billion, 300 million. Yeah. What's the extra one?
I mean, come on. It's almost nothing. This is insane, man. I thought it would be a couple months, maybe even a year before we heard about the next big acquisition, right? Because before Zynga, it was Microsoft buying ZeniMax and buying all of that stuff.
Well, we knew Microsoft had one more acquisition left, right? They even said analysts said there was one more big acquisition left that Microsoft was going to make. We all thought maybe Sega to get into the Japanese market, right?
Yeah. Because that was they tried to do that before, right? When the Xbox first came out, they had all those Sega exclusives, and I think you mentioned a couple of times that they were kind of in talks to possibly, or Microsoft definitely wanted to buy them. Sega's like, we'll put some games in the system.
Bill Gates famously, there was a quote that Bill Gates famously said he did not have confidence in Sega at the time to do it, right? Like obviously he wanted to buy them and they would run everything, but he didn't have confidence in Sega. But $68.7 billion is a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So this deal is not really going to go through until probably like June or summer of 2023. So nothing is going to change for the foreseeable future for the next year and a half.
And there's also a possibility that this gets blocked. Is that because Microsoft is venturing into antitrust territory?
It is a possibility, but from all accounts that I've seen, they said, that this is going to get scrutinized heavily, but it won't be blocked. It won't be blocked.
Okay.
So I don't think it'll be blocked. It's funny enough, Activision Blizzard market cap is near $51 billion. So they sort of overpaid for them, right? For future revenue.
Right.
And a big reason for that is Bob, with all the controversies, which we spoke about
at length. Yeah.
Activision visit. When all of this started, Bobby Kotick, the CEO, actually started to put Activision, like he said, that's when it started, they put it on the market to be sold.
Yeah, so it's not a coincidence. There's some shit that went down and Bobby wanted to get out. Let me just sell the company, and then he'll be free of all the controversy and we'll forget his name in a year.
So Microsoft was worried, right? Because apparently by all analysts, we're talking about Wall Street Journal. We're not talking about video game analysts. We're talking about the Wall Street Journal and stuff like that. That Google and Facebook / Meta, I just can't call it Meta. I'm not going to call it Meta.
Meta's the company name. Facebook is their product now.
I'm not going to call it that. I'm going to call it Facebook.
It doesn't matter.
Facebook and Google were in the running to buy it, right? And apparently Amazon wanted to throw that hat in the ring, if you believe all the accounts. And Apple actually inquired about purchasing them, right? They didn't get too serious in the talks, but they definitely wanted. So whenever you say Apple, Microsoft is going to jump. So
they all have the money, Apple could have easily dropped the sack of money, and that would have been it. It would have been okay. Well, there you go.
Well, this makes more sense to me why Microsoft would drop so much money, half of their evaluation, right? Half of what they have in the bank for it, because they didn't want sort of Google and Apple, I think mostly, to pick up the biggest third-party company in the world.
Yeah, they are definitely up there. I mean, Activision and Blizzard with Warcraft.
Imagine
Overwatch,
Call of Duty being exclusive
StarCraft,
to Stadia.
Call of Duty, Spyro, Crash. I mean, they own everything. They own all the big franchises, right?
They own Sierra. Old Sierra games, right? They owned old Atari games that were out on Atari, right? Because that's how Activision even started, right?
Yeah.
Like they broke off because they weren't getting any recognition from Atari. They broke off to be sort of the first third party developer.
That's right. They also now own King Games, too. That's what people forget. Activision Blizzard King. And King is Candy Crush. So Microsoft now will own Candy Crush as well, which is
100%.
insane.
I mean, which is why if you look at like Bethesda, right? Bethesda, not a publicly traded company, private company, owns a lot of technology, a lot of games that, people in the, the video game space like adore. Activision Blizzard owns, from Call of Duty, which is the best-selling game every year for the last 10 years.
Franchise-wise, yeah.
Yeah, and then they own Candy Crush, which is like a mobile game, which is like the most that produces like the most money for them out of any other game, probably. Right?
Oh yeah.
So it makes sense why it costs so much to buy them.
Oh yeah, no, they have a ton of stuff in their portfolio for sure. For sure. The thing that's kind of surprising to me, or it was surprising to me at least, was Apple being in these talks. Because I don't see Apple. Apple has 0 gaming companies in their portfolio, right? And I don't see them as a gaming company or a company that wants to get into gaming. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but they haven't really made any moves other than here's Apple Arcade, here's a bunch of curated stuff, which is good, but it's also not them getting into the space per se, but charging a fee for a bunch of games that look very aesthetically pleasing. And they do. They're great.
Well, someone who is an Apple aficionado like myself, who owns everything Apple, everything I want is Apple.
Oh, yeah. You were a fanboy. You were a fanboy, for sure.
I'm in the ecosystem. I will admit that. Is for the last 10 years since we started, even since we started the show, there's been rumors of Apple wanting to get in the video game space, but they don't want to start from scratch like Microsoft did, right? Like building it up from scratch, from nothing, making it into something. They want to buy in with market share, right?
Oh, sure.
So Call of Duty, Activision. I mean, Activision Blizzard makes sense, right? They have, Diablo. They have all of the World of Warcraft, like WoW, right? Like they have the number one, online games. They have
they're big.
The number one selling game.
They're certainly a big company
every year. They want to have market share, so that makes sense that Apple, if they want to they're not going to buy the Obsidians. Like, they're not going to buy the Obsidians. They're not going to worry about Senua's Sacrifice 2, right? Like Senua's Sacrifice or Senua's Saga. They're not gonna buy Double Fine, right? They want to start with a splash, and they would buy.
I think that's exactly what they should do. Double Fine would have been awesome under Apple, for sure.
No. That's a difference in what you think they should do and what they want to do to make a splash. I think they should buy smaller companies and build their way up, but that's not what they want to do. They want to have automatic market share in the gaming space, and buying EA, Activision Blizzard, or Ubisoft would do that for them.
You could certainly buy Ubisoft, right? If Activision Blizzard is available for sale. And granted, it's mostly because of Bobby's actions and all the controversy that came out, because otherwise I don't think they would have sold to Microsoft in that way. But he found a way out and went over that way. But then you look at like ZeniMax, which is not quite as big as Ubisoft. I think they're like 11 billion.
Private company.
Well, that all aside, let's take that all out of the equation, right? They're a company that you could go to, hand them a sack of money, you double what they're worth, and they may take it, because they've had some controversy too.
Yeah, but obviously, like Apple being like a cell phone company, it makes sense. I would actually, not even Activision Blizzard, it makes sense for them to buy Zynga and not 2K, right? I would see them buying Zynga and having that market share. And they have the marketplace in mobile, and they have the mobile games, right, that everybody loves, right? Like, I could see that more as a thing than anything. But I can understand why they would want to make, a splash and own Call of Duty, own Candy Crush, own those franchises.
Yeah,
over anything else.
The thing that also gets me too is like Apple cares about their brand. Like, first and foremost, everything needs to be bespoke. Everything needs to be like amazingly over-designed and looks really pretty. They have the best screens. Like they do a lot right. There's a lot I don't like about them, but aesthetically they do a lot right. So I don't like Call of Duty has a lot of, obviously the art style is kind of gritty realism. The online community is a little bit toxic. I don't really see that fitting in with Apple's brand either. Like that's the whole thing too. Like I see Apple's brand fitting in with Double Fine because they make very aesthetically pleasing games that have like unique art styles and whatnot. Like I could see that being more aligned with like Apple and then letting Tim Schafer kind of work his magic and make games, and Apple saying, here's a bunch of money, make what you want to make. We trust in your brand. Right. But I don't know. I mean, if it's just purely monetarily focused and they want to like snatch up everybody, then Activision Blizzard would have been the way to go, right? They were available and, everybody, I mean, people were saying that they were in the talk. So, there was definitely some chatter about it, but it would just be weird to me to have Apple own Activision Blizzard. I don't know. I think Microsoft is the right move. Out of the 5 companies, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft,
come on,
I would take Microsoft.
You didn't want Call of Duty to be exclusive to Google Stadia?
Yeah, and their whole division would be folded within the year.
Come on.
That's the problem. Facebook's thing, it would be tied to their Oculus. It'd be weird.
Come on,
there'd be weird advertising in it.
You can play Call of Duty VR exclusively on the Oculus. Come on.
God. Yeah, no, I don't know.
If you want to play the next Crash Bandicoot game, it's VR and the Oculus. They have hardware.
Well, that's actually funny too. Microsoft now owns, essentially, in my eyes, the mascot of the original PlayStation. Crash.
Well, I mean, it was the original PlayStation mascot, so yeah.
Oh, what, Polygon Man?
It was.
Polygon Man. Yeah, nobody remembers Polygon Man. I
thought he was great. He was great.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he was there for like a month, and then they're like, this is dumb. We have to drop Polygon Man.
Well, obviously, they made this was more, I think the Bethesda acquisition was Xbox acquisition, right? I think they more aligned, lobbied for that to get the IPs.
It was a business move, yeah. It was a economic
This was
business
more of a Microsoft decision, right? Where Microsoft wanted to buy them because they saw the money that they were generating, because this was more of a money move than anything else. But it benefits Games Pass, right? And just think about
100%.
Let's take a look. Activision Blizzard, nearly 400 million monthly active players in 190 countries, where Games Pass now is more than 25 million subscribers. So this is all in an effort to bolster subscriber base for Games Pass.
Every new Call of Duty, after they get acquired, the 2023 Call of Duty, Games Pass. 2024 Call of Duty, Games Pass. It's going to be great.
Well, I think the biggest question right now is, Activision Blizzard still has that lawsuit pending with the state of California, right?
Yep.
And, everyone automatically thinks that, because of this, the culture will change, right? I think that's the biggest question. I mean, will the culture change at Activision Blizzard when this transaction actually goes through? Or will they keep the status quo? I mean, the CEO of Microsoft, not Phil Spencer, which he runs the Xbox division for Microsoft, the CEO of Microsoft was, on record pretty much, praising Bobby Kotick's, leadership, right? Pretty much saying, he was grateful for his leadership. Now, he could.
Well, you got to be diplomatic about the situation, especially when you just bought the company, because you don't want their valuation or share to go down, right? You don't want to be shitting on the company you just bought.
He could just be saying that because, again, the deal didn't go through yet, right? So
well, also that too. He doesn't want to burn any bridges. You know, what are you going to be like? No, Bobby Kotick's got to go. No.
I think we all in agreement that Bobby Kotick is not going to stay when the acquisition happens.
He's gone. He's 100% gone.
But you know what? Don't cry for him, even though you want to cry for him.
Who wants to? No, I don't think anyone wants to cry for him, Dan.
Well, not in a different way. Not you don't want to cry for him in a sad way. You want him to suffer somewhat for what he did or did not do as CEO. But don't cry for him in any way, because the man stands to make $350 million.
Yep, that's insane. The golden parachute. Oh, thank you, Dr. Evil. Nice.
$1 million.
I know.
From the acquisition.
Oh, $350 million. Yeah, that's his golden parachute. Among other things, I'm sure there's all the stock options and the whatever, and he's going to cash out all this money. He's going to be fine, you know?
Yeah. And apparently, there was supposed to be a meeting with employees. That he was late to. He didn't even get there on time.
That man doesn't have time for that. He's like, I have to go and address all of Activision Blizzard and King Games. Oh, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, no. That dude is out. He's already looking at his property in the Caymans, right? He's going to be retired. This guy is done. I don't think he's going to be involved in anything else. It's crazy.
I don't want to talk about him anymore. Okay, like he's done. He's essentially done for the next year and a half. Nothing's going to change, but nothing's going to change. The new Call of Duty will be announced at some point around E3 time, and it will be out on all platforms. Well, multi-platform, not the Switch. When it does come out, probably in October, right? And it will be the best-selling game of 2022.
I mean, yeah,
which
of course,
guaranteed.
Because it just is. Yeah, right. Everyone.
It just is.
Everyone looks past the controversy when you put out a AAA game that everybody wants to play. You go, F it, I'm going to get it, and I'm going to play it.
When the trailers come out, it won't have Activision Blizzard on it, because they're going to take that off.
Microsoft Game Studios, right?
It's not even going to say that. It's just, remember, I think the Call of Duty Vanguard, when it came out, they didn't have Activision logo on it because of all the controversy.
Yeah, so, yeah. That was a calculated move. Well, a couple of things. I did read that they're going to take Call of Duty out of the annual cycle, even though there's multiple studios. Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, it's a possibility. But that would go a long way. And the reason I think that's kind of true, and the reason I think that the culture is going to change, is you're not going to spend that amount of money and just keep everything the same, right? There obviously been a lot of firings and layoffs and people leaving, and now Bobby is most likely going to be kicked out. They're gonna have a huge changing of the guard. Phil Spencer's going to step in. Apparently, everyone's going to be reporting to Phil Spencer, all of the studios. So he's going to have his hands in it, right? And he's gonna make the change. I trust in Phil Spencer as much as I'm trepidatious about this deal, because Microsoft is becoming like a monolith, which is a little bit weird, but they've been treating all their companies right, as far as I can tell. I don't think we've had any. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that it will be annual, right? But remember, 2 years ago, they stopped. It was only 2 studios and not 3 studios that were putting out. Well, it was Infinity Ward, Raven, and another one. Yeah. So
they stopped. It was only going to be 2 studios putting it out. So that means every
Treyarch.
2 years.
Yeah.
Treyarch. That's right. And it was going to be every 2 years. Mm-hmm. I think Microsoft will keep every year, but maybe add a studio that we don't know of just yet, right? Maybe make it 4 studios. So every 4 years we'll get a different Call of Duty game,
it's
right?
Possible.
Or every other year, or every other year. Maybe,
Maybe. I mean, it's
along those lines.
It's hard to, from an economic standpoint, it's hard to say, hey, let's not put out a game every year, right? They found a way to fix it. They said, let's do 3 studios. So every game gets a 3-year production cycle, right? Which is doable, as opposed to a 1-year development cycle
Correct.
by a single studio, right? So they kind of solved that problem. They said, we can do it with 2 studios. And, Vanguard still sold well, even,
The
review
number
scores.
1 selling game of 2021.
Yeah, I know.
Don't understate.
Review scores not so great on that game.
It didn't sell well. It was so great.
Well, they always do. They always top the charts year after year. So it's kind of hard to say no to that. But
right.
I would be okay with a not annual release of Call of Duty. If it was every 2 or 3 years, I'd be all right with that.
So here's the thing: the question is in 2024? Because I don't think this. I think 2020. I think this year and next year are set contractually, right? So 2024 is that the time where Call of Duty stops being the best-selling game every year, right? Because it's either exclusive or on Games Pass, right?
Well,
right?
I mean, are you asking? Are they gonna pull it off the PlayStation Store? Is it not going to be?
Well, no. I'm asking. If they say, "Hey, this is on Games Pass, you don't have to spend $60, $70 for it. It's on Games Pass."
Sure.
Right? Is it now not the best-selling game of all time? Right?
Yeah. See, I don't know how they factor in. I don't know how they factor all that in.
Does it push Games Pass subscriptions?
Well, I mean, either way, it's a win for Microsoft, right? Because, look at it this way: a membership to Games Pass, right? You can, let's assume it's in perpetuity. That's $15 a month if you're paying month to month. $15 a month. So what is that? Like 15 times 12, right? 180 or something like that. 150, 180 bucks per year versus $60, right? And that's not to mention the Battle Pass. That's not to mention any other microtransactions, which are not included with Games Pass, right? You just get the game, right? So it's just that. So there's more money to be had for them with the Games Pass, right? Sales numbers will probably take a bit of a dip, right? People aren't going to be buying the digital or the physical version, right? Because you can just play it on Games Pass. If this works out in their favor and they move from their 25 million subscribers now to 50 million subscribers, I think they'd be okay with a dip in sales numbers because you're making that money up month after month for sure, right? If you get friends who are playing the game, you're going to be in it for at least a couple months to a year, paying for the service to play with your friends, right? And you also get other games that you may or may not play, but it doesn't matter to Microsoft because they're getting your money, right? They got you in one way. So, yeah, they may drop off the sales charts. There are there are other games that could take that spot.
Probably like 2K, which was a
sure. If they put a new Grand Theft Auto out, forget it. That'll be the hottest game of the year.
Second. Well, let's talk about dipping. You said will it dip in sales? Sony, which was a knee-jerk reaction, right? Their stock dropped by a lot.
Oh,
right?
sure.
Total knee-jerk reaction because a lot of their software sales, come from Activision Blizzard games.
Yeah.
Like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But Phil Spencer has gone on the record that said he confirmed that Call of Duty will remain on PlayStation platform. I'm going to tell you why that's true. Are you ready? They spent half of the money they have in the bank. Think about all the money you have in the bank right now, Dave. Okay? All the money you have in the bank. And you spent half of that on something. Right? You want to make that money back tenfold. You want to make that money back and then some. Okay? They spent half the money they have in the bank, almost $70 billion, $68.7 billion.
69 billion.
$68.7 billion. They want to make that money back. Okay? We talked about when they bought Mojang, whatever you want to call it. Right?
You got it right
$1 billion. Just one.
Yeah, I know. And that was the best purchase they've ever made, I think. And they've made their money hand over fist.
And they said they want to keep it multi-platform because they want to make that money back, right? And then some. That made sense. When they bought Bethesda, right? There was talks that like Starfield a brand new IP will be exclusive to Xbox.
Well,
Maybe.
it was in debate whether they would do that or not, you know, and then they said, it's going to be
Starfield's going to be exclusive, but they did say
we know that now,
some games will be multi-platform. Maybe Doom, maybe Wolfenstein, maybe those established IPs will be multi-platform. Fallout, right? I don't think Doom, maybe not Doom so much, but definitely I think Fallout and Elder Scrolls have a chance to be multi-platform because they were already multi-platform, and those are big selling games that you want to make that money back. 100%, you're not spending almost $70 billion to keep Call of Duty exclusive because you want to make that money back because it's the best-selling game for the last 10 years, which is the reason why you even considered buying the company.
Oh, sure. And yeah, I mean, that makes sense. The thing that I'll say, and maybe they'll end up doing this, is they will get out of the hardware game and be Games Pass exclusive, which I think is what they're trying to do.
I don't think they'll do that.
Or xCloud or xCloud. Well, then
correct.
Why are they spending this amount of money on all that? Like,
they will still have a box. They will still have a box, even like the next generation. But maybe after that, they won't.
It's just going to have Bluetooth and a little network thing on there, and you'll be streaming all that stuff. That is where they're going. They are not pumping billions and billions of dollars into this xCloud / Game Pass technology because eventually you're not going to need it. You just need to have a good internet connection, and we're getting there. Wow. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. And think about it. Even if they don't have xCloud, right? Because xCloud is the streaming thing. Games Pass is the a la carte thing. What if they found a way to broker a deal with PlayStation and say, okay, we want to have Games Pass on your system? And they get out of the hardware game, which is a losing venture to begin with, because they don't make money on the systems.
They would need to find a way to broker it with Sony and Nintendo. It couldn't just be Sony. It would need to be and Nintendo.
Well, Nintendo's always going to be underpowered, so Nintendo would have to be an xCloud situation. But I think that's where they're headed, right? Because like they're kind of getting there with like, look, we own all these studios. We can just put them on Games Pass. It's not a problem. So which means they can also get it on xCloud. They can just stream it. And we know that it's a much better service than Stadia. You know, it's a much better service than Amazon's Luna or whatever that is. You know, so they're like the number one game in town. I could see that going down, and then they stay on the. You know, it doesn't matter what the hardware is. They don't care.
Yeah.
They'll just, here's all the games, and you're good to go.
Well,
and
all right.
I would be okay with that. You know, if I don't have to buy another box, it's all right. I can just stream it.
I wouldn't be okay with it because I'm a traditionalist. I want to have.
I know.
System.
I know. I don't want to think about not being able to fill up my shelves with all these cool games and the physical discs and all the
almost
cool
up
stuff
to 5,000. I want to hit 7,000 too.
I know.
One day. Okay.
I know.
So, all right. So here's the number one question I want to ask you regarding this. What's a franchise that Activision Blizzard has dormant that you want to see revived? I can tell you what I want to see.
Oh.
I want to see Blur 2. Okay?
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I don't know why I laughed.
I like the original Blur. It was the modern. It was Forza meets Mario Kart, right? It was Forza with Mario Kart mechanics.
Yeah, no, Blur was a fun experience.
I thought it was awesome, and
Blur
I played it for a Saturday Morning Retro show a couple of months ago. I thought it was awesome. I loved it. I would love to see a Blur 2. Right? Like that's one of the dormant franchises. I mean, listen, Phil Spencer said there are franchises he want to see, and he name dropped Hexen.
Yeah, Hexen. Man. Talk about old school PC, right? You talk about Doom and Wolfenstein and all that.
Nobody cared about Hexen in the last 22 years. Who cares?
Because they haven't put anything out in the last 10, you know. The last one to come out in that series was Heretic 2, I think, in like the early to mid 2000s.
Nobody cares about Hexen.
Nobody cared about Doom until it came back, right? You know.
All right, well, okay.
Doom 3 wasn't great, and they brought it back in 2016. It was amazing.
I thought it was great. I thought Doom 3 was great.
Doom 3 was okay. Fans weren't about it. It was very different. It was survival horror, different game.
It was more survival horror. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Actually, would be great, man. Look, all you got to do is get a good studio behind it. and it'll
give
be
me
great.
a franchise. Give me a franchise that you would love to see come back.
Pitfall.
Wow.
You know, you want to talk about retro, old school. You want to talk about game collector from back in the day. Pitfall.
Well, the last Pitfall game was on the GameCube, right? The GameCube original Xbox and PS2.
I remember the Mayan Adventure on PS1 and PC, and like maybe Saturn.
No,
there was one after that.
Yeah, it was one after that. I think I have it on the GameCube.
I mean,
Atari made that.
Sure. It would be a very Uncharted, Tomb Raider-esque. It is kind of that game, right? Even though if you go back to its roots, it's just a little guy 3 pixels high, you know, running through screen after screen, but he's a treasure hunter in the jungle, right? It's a good premise, right? Bring back Pitfall, Harry. Put him in a full 3D game. Hell, remake the original, right? I would even be okay with that. But I think there's some stuff to mine there. You could do more Crash Bandicoot games. You could do more Spyro games. Those are possible.
Oh, those are definitely. I think those are definitely happening, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you get the right studio, and I think those games would definitely be multi-platform because they know they would sell because those originally were PlayStation games. So I think they would make those multi-platform, but games like Blur 2, Hexen, Pitfall.
Hey, mind the depths, man. You got all of these franchises. Phil Spencer knows what's up. He goes, you know what? We're gonna blow people out of the water next E3. It's gonna be great.
All right. So did you know? So McDonald's makes fun of the acquisition, the Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And they posted a tweet, which was a red Xbox Series X with French fries in it, and a red Xbox controller with the M in the
Microsoft
middle, 7X, and said, "Would you buy us too, Microsoft?" So they joined into the fun. They joined in the fun.
That's kind of funny.
Of the acquisition. I thought that was hilarious. As a side note,
yeah, they're not as good as Wendy's. Wendy's is the king. But I definitely give Microsoft props for getting in on the game. You know.
So, but on a more serious note, we talked about E3 2022 not happening, in person this year, right? That they announced that they were going to have, more of a digital presence, but it seems that may be in question too. There are reports out there, right? E3 from Jason Grubb, he's a VentureBeat reporter, actually reported that E3 2022 probably won't even have a digital event. They'll probably be canceled because people are looking at Jeff Keighley's Summer's Games Fest or hosting their own showcase, right? And you would say, well, why? And the simple answer is it's not free. You have to pay money to be a part of anything that the ESRB is, like the E3 event. You have to pay money. Even for the digital event, you have to pay to get in.
That's right. Right. And what's the benefit of literally a green screen and a live stream on YouTube? That's essentially what it's boiled down to. It's very good production now, right? They've kind of made it pretty slick, and they learned how to work it all out. But is it really worth $100,000? Because I don't think it was any different in price than what the physical stage price was to get your game. It should be different
in price, but
it should be a lot different in price because there's no physical space.
I know, but I will say this though. It is something you are paying for the collective hype. Right? Hey, if Microsoft is involved, Nintendo is involved, people are going to watch, and you're going to get a lot of eyeballs and a lot of hype around it. And if you're anywhere near before or after Nintendo or Microsoft, you're going to have people watching.
Oh, yeah.
Right, to get hype around whatever you want to promote. The problem was we didn't have a lot to promote last year, right? Square Enix... There were a lot of terrible conferences. Square Enix didn't even have really a conference. It was terrible. It was one of the worst ones, right? So stuff like that was a disappointment. So why would Square Enix, if they have nothing to show, why would they? Especially if some of their top games are exclusive, timed exclusive, like the Final Fantasy, that Dark Souls Final Fantasy game, right? That we had a demo for. That's part of PlayStation. That's probably going to go on a PlayStation showcase that they're going to do on their own.
Yep.
And you're probably not going to have to pay an arm and a leg for.
Right.
So why
right.
would you have your own showcase? But that makes no sense, right? Why would you pay to be on E3? So I think, the ESRB needs to reinvent itself, right?
They've been trying. They've been trying. I mean, I think they know this behind the scenes.
If they cancel another year, I think it's over, to be honest.
Yeah.
If they cancel another year and don't have anything.
It's not the first time that E3 has been canceled, right? It started in 96, I think. But in like the mid-2000s, they ended up not doing it for a year or two.
Yeah, I know.
And then they ended up coming back, for whatever reason. I think they initially tried to open it up to fans. And then for whatever reason, they're like, we're just not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then they came back. And that was at a time when E3 was still the only game in town, right?
Yeah.
The internet was streaming, and the internet and YouTube was still in its infancy or not even born yet. So like you're getting your news and whatnot still would come from, magazines and other sources, and there wasn't really, the internet wasn't what it was now, right? Yeah, it's completely different. So I hope they don't, but also I understand why people wouldn't be shelling out the $100,000 or whatever it is for, for a spot on the stage, because it's a lot of money for what,
Eyeballs. All about eyeballs. It's all about can you guarantee people will see. And if you have an E3, even digitally, people will tune in. Will you get a big return? Only time will tell. I don't want E3 to go anywhere. They really need to reinvent themselves and how they want to do things. But people do tune in to Jeff Keighley's Summer's Game Fest, and if he's doing it for a fraction of the price,
I know. Yeah.
So,
why would you not?
All right. Some sad news. We knew this was coming. It's coming too soon, if you ask me. But Nintendo announced plans to stop credit card payments on 3DS and the Wii U eShops. You know what that means? That means it's done. Those shops are done.
Yep.
They're focused all on the Switch, which doesn't really have an eShop to buy old games, right?
No.
Old Nintendo games. So if you're looking to buy old Nintendo games on a 3DS or the Wii U, and you want to use real money and not gift cards or points or anything like that, you have until January 22nd to do that. But sadly enough, if you're listening to this when the show comes out, January 22nd was 2 days ago. So you missed out.
It's long gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I'm going on after the show to buy games, to buy a bunch of games so I can play it on a Wii U.
Sure. Thankfully, there's not a lot of stuff, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a lot of stuff that's like exclusive to these platforms. There's one thing that I know off the top of my head, and that is Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario 3 with the card. Remember they had the e-reader card levels, right? With the extra levels? You can only get that right now on the Wii U, which I already purchased. Sure. Huh. So, okay. That is exclusive. Yeah. Well, fair enough. All right. Let's end the news with this. The most controversial episode in Rated G history was named the peanut butter and the chocolate. Chocolate and the peanut butter. Why? Chocolate and peanut butter. Now, why was it named chocolate and peanut butter? I still don't know. We'll never know, Dan. We'll never know. We'll never know. But if you like the peanut butter part of that, it's good news. You can get peanut butter for gamers. Yes, this is a real thing. You can now get peanut butter specifically made for gamers. So this is it's a collaboration between Jobby, who makes peanut butter, bespoke peanut butter, it seems like, and Zotac Gaming, right? Which are, they're a fairly prominent gaming accessory company and whatnot. They've come together and made a very much gaming looking jar of peanut butter, right? And I know you're smirking because you see the image, Dad. First of all, it's like this like holographic kind of printing process on there. So the light shines off it and it all looks kind of pretty and gamery and all that.
It looks like a protein bottle, to be honest.
It does look like a jar of protein powder. But it says at the top, world's first nut butter for gamers. I just want to let that sink in. Nut butter.
Every pro gamer needs a nut butter.
You need that nut butter. That's right. That's right. How else are you going to excel in Overwatch and
that's the name of the episode,
like League of Legends?
That's the name of the episode, Nut Butter for Gamers.
Oh my God. It's definitely not.
It names itself.
That is that is
not
crazy.
Just nut butter. You'd be able to get Pong Berry Matrix, Peanut Energy Crunch.
Okay.
Right? Like if you like that. The berries is a mix provided extra crunch, right? We want some extra crunch in that. This is so funny. This is like, I mean, is it like a snack, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? Like that's what gamers love to eat.
Well, I mean, look. I'll say this:
nut butter.
We're kind of clowning on this, and there's been a lot of gamer themed snacks and drinks.
Would you try this?
I would.
You see it? If I bought it for you, would you try it?
I would have a spoonful. I would see how it is. I don't.
Okay.
Unless it tastes amazing, I'm not gonna like because I don't eat peanut butter on the regular. But
Wow.
Unless it tastes amazing, then I'm probably just gonna be like, okay, let them do them. And there has been successes, right? If you look at G Fuel is still around. It's like a drink powder that's kind of like Gatorade. You put some water in there, you make a drink out of it, gives you a bunch of sugar, and then you can play all night. You can play your Fortnite all night long. So and G Fuel is still going strong. So yeah, I think it's silly, but it could do well. It could do well with the nut butter.
Nut butter. Right. So that's all I have. That's all I have for the news. News is done. All right. So why don't we take a break? When we come back, we're going to get into our interview with the man himself, the Human Tackboard.
Leroy Patterson. And we're back. Now, we want to welcome to the show Leroy Patterson, a.k.a. the Human Tackboard, a.k.a. the King of Sneak King. Welcome to the show. We got our copies here. Dan's got copies of all three back there.
They're beautiful.
I had to have all three. I had to put all three.
Yeah, I mean, the other two can, die in a fire, but
Sneak King is the one. Yeah. So welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, what you're all about, what you do, because you've got some pretty extensive credits. All right.
I try to keep life interesting. So I have 2,907 copies of Sneak King. I'm a reality TV star, I guess. I've done 20 plus reality shows, including America's Got Talent and The Gong Show and Hole in the Wall. And I have an upcoming performance on the Go Big Show Thursday, January 27th. And it's going to be awesome. You need to watch it. And I also worked in the video game industry for 10 years for 2K, EA, THQ, Square Enix, Activision, a bunch of places. Also, I'm a pro wrestler. For 20 years, I wrestled in XPW back in 2000. I also had an extensive backyard wrestling career. I was on MTV True Life. I'm a Backyard Wrestler. Was filmed at my house, and I was on the cover of Best of Backyard Wrestling Volume 2. I wrestled for Freak Show Wrestling in Vegas for the last couple of years, and I just recently made my AEW debut. And there's other stuff too, but that's that's the main stuff.
That's awesome. That's pretty amazing. So
I'm also a video editor. I work for Giphy, making animated GIFs all day. That's my job.
All right.
So
I use your guys' services on the regular. They are the best gift service in town, and the fact that I can go onto my chat service and do /Giphy and a random keyword and something awesome comes up is just amazing. So
Slack. That Slack integration is so good.
That's fantastic. So I think maybe we kind of want to get started with talk a little about your kind of gaming history and whatnot, how you got involved with gaming, and I guess then that'll also kind of lead into the Sneak King stuff too.
Yeah, I was 5 or 6, I think, when I first saw the Atari 2600.
That was my console.
I say it was Jaws or some kind of like fish shark game, and I was blown away by the fact that you can control what was happening on the screen. You know, that was a concept that was foreign to me as a little kid. I was like, "You're moving that thing?" You know, like it was such a huge, iconic moment of my life. And then it was 9 or 10 when I got my. Still there? Cool. I was 9 or 10 when I first got my NES. The classic entertainment system, and yeah, from there just hooked. As you can see, I've got a very extensive shelf of video games behind me.
Yeah.
Over here, I've got
how big is your collection?
It's 2,400. No, I just hit over 2,500, so it's 2,500.
Nice. That's a milestone. Yeah.
Physical copies, and then like on Steam, I got another $2,000, games, and I like video games. But and then 72 systems, I think.
Oh my god, okay. That's a lot.
And most of them are all hooked up right now to a projector, and I sit in the massage chair and play video games. It's
that's how you do
nice
it.
Way to relax and chill, and but yeah, I loved games so much. I decided right after high school, I was like, I need to get into the video game industry. This is my calling. I love, I was professional wrestling at the time too, and so I got a job at THQ. They were looking for testers, and it was the worst job I've ever had in my life, and I did it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Wait, so how? Okay, so when you're a kid, right?
Yeah.
And somebody said, "Hey, you could test video game all day." You would think that's the best game, the best job ever, right? So how is it the worst job ever?
So, and I had done play testing before, which is great. They bring you in, there's snacks, and you play a game for 8 hours, and you tell them what you think. That's awesome. I love that. I do it every now and then. It's fun. But actual testing is the worst because you're working on, and so you don't get to pick the game. So there's months where I'm working on Dora the Explorer on Nintendo DS.
Yep. Barbie's Horse Adventures. Yeah.
I did 4 months on SpongeBob SquarePants and the Flying Dutchman, and I lost my mind and I quit THQ and I left.
Yeah, that'll do
I
it.
flew up to Australia and went to stunt school because I was like, I need to do something crazy. This is not what I want for my life. But yeah, there's the crunch time is real. The last 4 or 5 months of a project, you're working from 7 a.m. to like 2 a.m. 6 days a week. And you live there. I've slept under my desk multiple times. THQ was a 2-hour drive for me every morning. So I would just sleep under my desk during crunch time and just didn't go home. Smelled like crap, I'm sure, eventually. But yeah, it was just mind-numbing, terrible. And THQ was probably one of the worst because we had to write all our bugs out by hand. And anyone who's written a bug knows that it's a long document filled with like paragraphs of like how to get, you break down the severity of the bug, you break down the type of bug, and then you have to be able to recreate it 100% of the time.
Right. Yeah. Is it reproducible? What are the details to do that? Yeah. And I'm also assuming that it can go back to the engineers and they're like, nah, we're not going to fix. And you went through all that trouble to put that together and go, no, this is a serious bug. And they go, nah.
Yeah, WNF will not fix. That is a legitimate note that we would get on bugs.
Wow.
And some of them are like, fine, there's a minor graphical corruption. It's not a big deal. Because when you fix something, chances are you're going to break 5 other things. So I get it. You got to be picky with what you fix. As long as it's not going to ruin the integrity of the experience, then who cares? But yeah, it's not fun. I had moments of fun. Like I got to work on Guitar Hero 5 and Band Hero.
Nice.
And other than all the I got to get really good at those games, and then I started competing in tournaments and stuff and winning tournaments, and that was fun. And I worked on Duke Nukem Forever, which was like great. I love that game. People crap on it, and that's fine. But it was exactly what I wanted. It was just 10 years too late. But yeah, so it had its moments, but I ultimately hated it because of the hours and because you're treated like crap, pretty much.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yay. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's kind of sad too, because like the QA team, I think in almost any industry, I mean, I work in tech and whatnot, so I work with the QAs and the whatever, either like on the team or like externally somewhere else, but they are kind of the backbone, right? They are the ones that are testing your code, and if it doesn't work, right, they're like, look, you can't ship this out. This needs to come back. And I personally don't think that like, QA is valued in the level or in kind of the way that they should be. And, I think the industry kind of looks at it like QA is disposable. It's just a body in a seat that's kind of going through, and like, unless there's like, I walk through the door and the whole console turns on fire, like they're like, yeah, it's fine, it's whatever, like we know what we're doing. But no, like the QA team is doing valuable work, and that should be like, that should be respected in a way, I think. So I mean, I get that. And not to mention crunch and whatever else, and trying to get games out by the holidays, like there's just all that on top of that. And yeah, it's a lot of stuff to deal with. So I understand the pain for sure.
Yeah, I'll never do it again. But they're treated as disposable. The long hours and burnout is very real. Like, you could get so much more done if you either have like 2 crews going, or just so certain companies all had their different problems. So Neversoft had a thing where it would be like 5:55, you're getting ready to go home at 6, you kind of start packing up, you're like, cool, get to go home now, and they're like, guys, nope, stop it, get back into the game, we're doing overtime. Like, I had dinner plans with the wife. All right, fair enough. And then they wouldn't tell you how, they wouldn't say we're doing an hour or 2 or 3, they'd just be like, we're doing overtime, just you're here. I'm like, all right, okay, not knowing whether or not can I go home? No, it's been 3 hours. No, all right, fair enough. So you can't have a social life and stuff. The work-life balance is way out of whack. At least it was 10, 15 years ago or whenever I was doing it. It may have gotten a little better, but I mean, from all the stories you hear, probably not.
Right.
Wow, I didn't know it was that bad. Wow.
Oh yeah, it sucked. I was at EA right around the time of like the EA wife controversy, where that whole thing blew up, and they were looking into like how bad overtime is, and I was there at the time, and yeah, it sucked. It was the worst.
Yeah.
Had fun. Games are great. I love playing them.
Of course. Yeah. So I mean,
something you like is tough too.
Yeah.
For so long, and you're like in the example of like the SpongeBob game, you're working on one level at a time. And
it's the same thing like over and over again. Yeah.
It's the worst. It's terrible.
It's a bit
on the people who can do it, because I can't. That's not me. I'm out.
Yeah, it's a bit maddening. I really enjoy it. I wish they brought it back, but Penny Arcade had a side comic, right? That's right. I forget what the name of it was called, but I mean, it was just tales from it was just all the horror stories from like QA development and all that, and just I cried every time I read one of those stories, even though you're meant to laugh and all that. So I feel the I feel the pain a little bit, but and I guess
with how advanced games are nowadays, because I mean, you look at something like a Guitar Hero, that it's the same game nearly every time with just different songs, different. You're looking at the note tracks, you're making sure the audience doesn't mess up. But for the most part, that's the game is doing what the game is going to do, and there's no way around that.
Right, it's 5 notes on like a little keyboard thing.
Yeah. Whereas as something as advanced, like Cyberpunk or something, where I mean, that's there's problems with that game, but there's the amount of stuff to do in the game and the amount of high quality graphics that are everywhere and interacting with each other in crazy ways. Just our games are nowadays. I remember thinking back in the day when PS2 games were coming out and we were just starting to get into the 360 thing, and I'm just like, the amount of test time on these things has got to be insane, and it's not getting any better.
Right.
Which is why I'm sure the indie game market is so much bigger now, just because one, there's a way to get your game out there easier, but two, it's the easier way to go. It's the more fulfilling, the more, I made a game for Giphy. It's like a Mortal Kombat style fighting game and stuff. And I had so much fun making that. It's got like 134 characters. It's got
wow.
It's nuts.
How do you? Is it online?
No, we're right now the only place you can play it is in our office either in New York or LA. We have an arcade machine set up for it.
Right.
And it's got celebrities in it. It's got like Marshmallow is in it, the DJ, and it's
yeah. Oh, that's
got Hacksaw Jim Duggan and $1 Million Man. Anytime we have celebrities come in, we're like, hey, you want to film a thing for our game? And they're like, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a ton of fun, but doing that is so much more fun and fulfilling, and I feel like I'm spending my time properly than I ever did in 10 years of game development.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, I guess unlike the gaming front, because you do have a very admirable collection. What is your favorite console? And follow-up question: what's your favorite game franchise?
Favorite console of all time would probably be either the Nintendo or probably the PS2.
Okay.
A lot of just
I can
really
see
good
that. I can see the PS2.
A lot of really good games.
Extensive library in the PS2.
Yeah. And that was during the time when I was probably gaming the most because I, was working part-time and not doing a whole lot with, and doing my own thing, but I had a lot more gaming time then. So yeah, I plowed through that library. And then favorite game of all time would probably be Spider-Man PS4.
Wow. Nice. Okay.
Huge Spider-Man fan, and they did it so well. It was just I've beaten it twice, and I still go back to it every now and then.
I gotta admit, I have Spider-Man. I got the upgrade for the PS5.
Oh yeah.
It's digital only, right? Like you get Miles Morales as digital. I wish they put it in physical.
Same.
I go back to it. If you listen to earlier in the show, it's like, what are we playing? Which is one of our best segments. What are we're playing? I can just listen to a podcast and just fly through New York.
Oh my god, it's so much fun.
Yeah,
there's a VR game that just came out called Resist on the Oculus Quest, and it's Spider-Man with guns. You're swinging through a city and then launching yourself in the air and then raining down fire onto robots and stuff. It's great.
Okay.
Anything that'll put me in Spider-Man shoes on there. Got me.
That's awesome. I am 80% complete with that game. I'm trying to do everything. Yeah. So I'm pretty close to the end. I think I took down most of the villains. I'm pretty sure there's one or two missions left. But
sure.
All right, so you have to know something about Dave. Okay?
Oh, here we go.
Yes, he knows. When he plays games, he doesn't play it like normal people. Okay, he has to play it on the hardest difficulty and try to 100% it. And you know what? To his credit,
not always 100%, but always on hard mode.
Yeah.
To his credit, he does do a good job. It took him about 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 30 years to beat Batman Arkham Asylum.
It took me 4 years to beat Arkham Asylum. And you know what the thing is? You know what the thing about? I'll go off on a quick tangent. When you start that game, whatever difficulty mode it's in is what you're at. And I got through most of that game, and the thing that hung me up was the Bane fight. When you get dropped into the, you get dropped into the little thing and all the doors start opening up and the villains are coming at you. And I think from 2012 to 2000, that particular part, from 2012 to 2015, I was stuck on it. And every couple of months I go, no, you are not going to beat me, Bane. And I didn't realize that you didn't have to beat up all the little minions that were around. So I was going after all the ads, and I just had to take down Bane. And oh my god! But I did it. I beat it. I mean, the Joker battle was nothing. at the end of the game.
So I never let him live that down, because when we started the podcast in 2015 is when he actually beat.
That's
Arkham
right.
Asylum,
That's right.
Which
That's
was
right.
already out for about 4 to 5 years.
I felt very accomplished. So yes. I like to make it difficult for myself. I did. Yeah. So that's just my MO. But yeah.
So his new goal is to 100% Halo Infinite, and I said, you know what?
Well, I'm gonna do that too.
When we hit our 10-year anniversary, okay, in 2025,
I'm almost there, Dan.
He will 100% Halo Infinite.
I've got
Spider-Man.
I've got
get that last trophy or whatever. You get
That's right. I've got 99 out of 118 trophies for Halo Infinite, so I'm getting there.
Oh, achievements, yeah.
Achievements. Sorry,
That's
PlayStation's got the trophies. Cool. The thing that's going to be difficult is Legendary with all the skulls, the lasso achievement. So you got to get all the skulls, which I have all the skulls, and you have to beat the game on Legendary. But I'm saving that for when co-op comes out. I'm going to get my friend. Come on,
yeah.
we're going to do a co-op mode, and we're going to make that happen.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to have to help him get something. I got you. Listen, our 10-year anniversary, 2025, we will celebrate.
I mean,
finally, yeah.
Listen. Microsoft said Halo is like a 10-year roadmap for Halo Infinite, so it's going to happen. Yeah.
And then all the add-ons come out, and the DLC, and then they've got new achievements.
Oh, more, of course. It'll be 200 achievements at that point. So,
right?
Yeah, you know what? This is what we'll do. We'll have you back on the show. You'll be the world champion. Right?
That's right.
Then, right? And we could just have a
You'll
big
be the title holder.
celebration. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, well, I'll celebrate the belt. You celebrate the achievements. I'm in.
So back on track. So sneaking. Now,
yes.
I want to tell a very quick story because I can relate to the sneaking thing, because I don't know and I don't know if Dan necessarily knows the story, but I'm sure we're all old enough to remember the AOL free trial CDs.
Yes.
What you did with sneaking, and we definitely want to hear the story and the genesis of all that. I would take the little like thing that was like 30, 40, 50 CDs deep and just like take them and just have them to a point of thousands of CDs. And
I cut those things into like shurikens and throw them at my friends.
That's pretty funny. I ended up Christmas Eve, maybe mid 2000s. I put them on one of my friend's ex-girlfriend's lawn. I just said, well, they're gonna get a nice Christmas gift in the morning. So I
remember that.
I kind of get the let's just go ahead and get all the copies of sneaking, but we want to hear the story, the genesis of it, and all that.
Yeah, so I bought them when they first came out in 2006. You know, I got my combo meal and I got the games. And I thought it was a fun game. I thought it was funny, you know, and it sat on the shelf. I didn't really think about it. And then in 2016, I was at the dollar store and I saw a pile of 50 of them for $1 each. And I was like, oh man, that would be so funny to give out as gifts for Christmas. You know, it was around October. I was like, or, you know, just keep them and like be like, oh, hey, yeah, and here's my Sneak Kings. You know, just it was a dumb idea. I thought it was funny. It was a $50 joke. I'm in. And I didn't end up giving them out. I thought it looked really funny. It was part of my game collection. You know, there's all the other game shelves and then the Sneak King shelf. And then whenever I went to GameStop or, you know, any mom and pop game store, if they had a copy and it was under $5, I'd buy it. You know, just sight unseen, boom. Just either, how many do you have? 8? I'll take them all. And so it just kind of just became a running joke over the years. They're like, hey, let's just keep buying Sneak King and who cares, you know? And I made a post or two on Reddit when I had like 72 of them and when I had 200 and, you know, they did well and whatever. It was funny. Who cares? You know, life's about jokes. You gotta make yourself laugh sometimes. And so then by the time COVID came around, I had like 200 copies and I was stuck indoors. I mean, like everyone, you know, we were stuck indoors for a year. And the only thing that really got me through is like my game addiction, my collection addiction, you know, was watching YouTube shows about people, you know, collecting games or resellers or whatever, you know. There's like Phoenix Resell is a really cool one. I really dig watching those. And after I got the vaccine, I was like, oh, I'm a little more comfortable to go outside again. I want to create a YouTube series where we go and find copies of Sneak King. I think it'll be funny. It's a funny niche idea. It makes me laugh still. So let's do it. And episode 2, we went and picked up 1,000 copies. And I was like, all right, it's getting serious.
Yeah.
Where did you wait? Where did you find 1,000 copies of Sneak King?
So my wife, who thinks this is stupid, but is very supportive, found a listing for him on Facebook Marketplace. Because I told her, I was like, yeah, we're going to just go to game stores and find copies of Sneak King, and we'll have a funny narrative and an animated sidekick. It'll be funny. And then, within like after we filmed the first episode, she messaged me and she told me, she was like, hey, look, I found on Facebook Marketplace someone in Fresno is selling 1,000 of them, and we're like in LA, so it's like a 2-hour drive. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Yeah, let's do it. So we did an episode about it, went out to Fresno, private dude, selling out of his storage facility.
Right.
About 1,000 of them. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. And then a month or 2 after that, wife sends me another Facebook Marketplace where some guy is selling 2,900 copies of all 3 games for $100. I messaged him and I was just like, hey, I only want the Sneak Kings. Can I pay you $40 just for the Sneak Kings? And he was like, dude, I just want them out of my house. I'll give you $40 for all of them. I was like,
wow.
That's a steal.
So I had to do it in 2 trips to fit everything in my car. But drove out to Fresno twice, picked up 2,900 copies of all 3 games.
Wow.
Wow. And then after so I posted the original. I have 2,709 copies on Reddit, and that thing blew up, and a lot of people were angry and wanted to know why the hell I was doing this with my life, and there's a lot of mixed reactions. Right. A lot of most people asking why. It's I responded to every single person like, hey, we're doing a YouTube channel, check it out. And a lot of people had interest about sending us copies. So we've been receiving, I set up a P.O. box, and we've been getting copies of the game sent to us, which is awesome. And so the collection keeps building, and I still pick them up at stores whenever I find them, and it's fun stuff.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best things I think we've seen on the internet in a while.
We ended our show a couple of weeks ago with the guy who's collecting all the Sneak King episodes, like all the Sneak King discs. But I couldn't resist. I put the show together. I couldn't resist, but have to talk about this at the end of our show.
And everyone's everyone's sending us articles, and they're like, "Oh, you got to get this guy in the show. He seems great." And then I was like, "Oh shoot, you do professional wrestling. You were on AGT, Gong Show, all this other stuff."
Well, you had me with the wrestling.
Incredible.
You had me with the wrestling. Because everybody who listens to the show knows I always try to sneak in some wrestling references.
Of course, now and then.
I'm a very old school guy. I go back. You mentioned Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Hogan and Jake the Snake and all that. I loved it in the '80s. I followed it a little bit in the '90s, and then Dan kind of keeps me up to date with like the new roster and all that. So I'm following AEW a little bit. We watched your performance, which was awesome, by the way. It was really cool to see. And
okay, but so all right, so I have to know about the Human Tackboard thing. That you were on America's Got Talent.
Yeah,
you mentioned that earlier in the show.
Yeah,
Dave did not tell me this before I watched the episode.
I was like, Dan, you got to see this clip. Watch it.
So I'm like, does he sing? No, he doesn't sing. Does he dance? He doesn't dance. I said, well, what does he do? Does he breathe fire? I mean, tell me. He has a beard. I hope he doesn't breathe fire because that's dangerous. He would not tell me, and then I had to watch it for myself. I got to be honest. You are a wrestler, and Mick Foley was one of the love Mick Foley, love me,
hardcore champ, yeah.
Cactus Jack in WCW, Mankind, Dude Love. Yep, I had one of those. I had one of those fake torn up shirts with the tie on it.
Oh, love it. Yep.
So I knew exactly I knew what you were about to do. How in the world can you do that? I can't do that.
I don't know. It's a combo of things. So I have a high pain tolerance, just from years of wrestling and backyard wrestling and all the other dumb crazy. I ran a stunt team for 15 years. Co-ran a stunt team called No Mercy Video. If you've ever seen a clip of a guy, there's two guys up on a roof. One picks him up in a we call it the pentagram, but it's like the emerald flosion or the there's a bunch of names it goes by. But the feet are up here, the head's down here, and then they run and jump off the roof through a table, and they slam, and then they're screaming, and the camera guy's like, "Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay?" If you've ever seen that clip, I'm the one who filmed that one. That was my house. That one went viral, and it goes viral every couple of years. But we had a viral video stunt team. So it's just years and years of getting beat up. So I have a high pain tolerance. And then also when you're on stage, like, you have the adrenaline rush, and so when I'm doing that stuff, I don't feel a thing. I feel it afterward, but, in the moment, like, it doesn't bother me so much. It's fine. So the America's Got Talent thing came up because... So I loved doing reality shows at that point. I'd done a couple of them. The first one being the MTV True Life, and then a couple years later, I did a show called Solitary, where they 9 people, they lock them in a room in their own separate rooms and torture them for days. It's like Saw, the reality show, but without any super violence.
Wow. And this was on TV?
It was on TV. It was on Fox Reality Channel. It was one of the most. It was the hardest and funnest things I've ever done. It was the worst moment of my life and one of the best moments, because you're there's no human contact and there's no breaks. There's no reality show picked. It's you're literally locked in a 10-foot by 10-foot room and just like tortured for days.
Wow, that's crazy.
Great. It's on Vudu. You can check out. I'm on season 2. Great.
All right.
But so I've done a bunch of reality shows, and so we're always looking out for stuff to do. And a talent scout for AGT hit up a friend of mine. Because he had done a thing where he was headbutting watermelons on the Guinness World Records Gone Wild. A friend of ours was a casting agent, so he did that, and then I on that show I did a high heel 50-meter dash, which was fun.
Interesting.
I'd never tried it before, but I didn't break my ankle, so I was happy with my performance.
Okay. Oh, good on you.
And then so the talent agent reached out to him, and then we were, kind of business partners, and so I ended up talking to her, and she saw footage of me doing an improv show where I was blindfolded, barefoot, and surrounded by mousetraps. Me and a buddy were doing a comedy scene where we're the Christmas tree's on fire. Oh, let's get over, and then like into the mousetraps and stuff. She was like, "That's hilarious. Can you bring that to our stage? Can you bring something like that? What do you want to do?" And I was like, how about I get 5,000 thumbtacks and slam myself into it multiple times? She's like, "Great, we'll see you in 2 months in New York." And I was like, "What? Really?
Wow.
All right, crap."
Nice.
And so I had done like thumbtack death matches before, but I had never done that many at once and such quick succession. It was something that I was trying out for the first time really on the show. And so it was one of the things where I was like, if I'll do the big back bump, and if that goes well, then great. I'll do a bunch more. I got a bunch more ideas. If not, then that's it. And I bow and I get booed and told to leave. Is what I was expecting. I was expecting everyone to hate it and me to get booed out of the building. Which, when I did Wipeout, I lost horribly, and I knew I was there for the joke factor. Like American Ninja Warrior, I was there for the joke factor, and that's fine with me.
You were in wait, you were an American Ninja Warrior and Wipeout? I love Wipeout.
Yeah. Wipeout, I completed the course.
Yeah.
Like, just barely. Like, you have 10 minutes to complete it. I did it in like 9 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I did it. I'm
That's
happy
incredible.
about that.
I'm super impressed because it looks like, you could just kind of like just balance yourself and whatever.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a nightmare. Yeah, like people. It was so interesting on that show to see people like. I was the last person to go during that day of filming, and everyone would be like, "All right, let's go!" And they're super like pumped and happy. And then they're
off in like 2 seconds.
One person refused to talk to anyone, and they laid in the corner of the room, and they just held themselves, and we're like, "You all right?" And they just like looked at us and went back. We're like, "Oh my god!" So like you would see people like. Everyone stopped getting less and less excited to go out and like do the course.
Right.
It's like a really intense wrestling match. You just get wrecked in that. I weighed 320 pounds on that show, and they still launched me 8 feet in the air. And then I did a 12-foot drop into water. So like they hit you really hard on that show. Wow. And then they put in a bunch of fun sound effects so it doesn't look as bad.
Right. Yeah, it looks very, looks very fun and family friendly.
That show will apparently that show will break you. Man, yes.
Yeah, I'd be down to do it again, but no, it was messed
Sure.
up. So AGT, so I got there and I got 3 yeses and went back for round 2 and did a bunch of mousetrap bumps, which was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It was a neat experience, and it led to a whole bunch of other stuff. So I got hit up by similar shows in Germany, Italy, France, and Romania. I got to fly out to do all those.
That's awesome.
I did the Gong Show where I ran through Weed Whackers.
I know the Gong Show.
But yeah, the Human Tackboard thing has gone really well. And then also I have, depending on when you're listening to this or watching this, like I said, January 27th, Thursday, Go Big Show, doing some crazy, stupid stunts, and it's definitely a see to believe kind of situation.
Fair enough.
Really
I guess.
Go Big show.
I guess you got to tune in to see what goes down, right? You don't want to.
I can't say anything. I can't say anything.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, the reality show stuff has been great. I try to do one a year. Due to the contracts you sign, you can't really do more than one unless one is like international or something. But yeah, and there's a bunch more I'm in talks for on the way, so we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Nice.
All right. So this is the part that I'm excited about. Okay. So this is like
can we? No. All right. But before we get into this, can you be impartial? That's all I asked, Dan.
I can be. No. I want to talk about the wrestling.
Oh well, yes. All right.
I want to talk about the wrestling part. Okay. So how long have you been wrestling?
I mean, if you count backyard wrestling, I started that in 1996.
It counts. It's on PS2.
Yeah.
It counts.
Yeah. It's definitely it's a legitimate circuit.
I'm in the backyard wrestling footage on the first game and the XPW footage on the second game. And I was supposed to be in the third one if it had gotten made. I was in talks with the producer, and he was just like, "Yep, if when we make it, you're a character." And I was like, "Finally, I get to be a playable character in a video game," and it never happened. So that's a shame. So yeah, from 96 to 2000, I backyard wrestled, and then from 2000 to today, I've been a professional wrestler. I trained at the XPW Asylum, which was a really fun wrestling school in a really crazy environment. XPW was nuts. A lot of people that I love and still talk to today, and a couple of people that were just the worst. And they just had a Dark Side of the Ring episode air about XPW, so you can see everything there. And then I was there for 3 years. I bounced around the indie circuit for many years. Then I found a home at Freak Show Wrestling, which was a place that ran by Sin Bodhi, who used to be Kazarni in the WWE.
Yep.
And we did shows in Vegas and LA, and it was like a bunch of friends putting on an awesome, goofy, crazy wrestling. We did a 30-man battle royal where after the first 5 people, giant octopus tentacles came out from underneath the ring and started attacking us, and so we had to fight a giant octopus.
Okay. I can get behind that.
I got to see it to believe it, right?
Yeah.
See that to believe that.
Yeah.
Everything Freak Show Wrestling does is insane, and it was so much fun. It was some of the best time I've ever had wrestling. But then they shut down, and I kind of, I was busy with other things, so I didn't really kind of jump into it. And then due to events that happened on the Go Big show next week, I got into contact with Cody Rhodes, and they invited me and my best friend, my wrestling manager, Howdy Price, out to wrestle for AEW Dark, which was insane. It was nuts.
Yep, I saw the match. Again, I saw the match. Didn't know this was you that we would be interviewing. So I seen the match before, and I got excited. That's awesome. Congratulations on the match.
Yeah,
thank you.
Like, how was it? How was it to wrestle for AEW?
I was scared. Can I cuss?
Yes,
it's cool. Perfectly fine. Yeah.
I didn't want to screw anything up. I was scared.
No, it's all good.
I was, because I hadn't wrestled since like 2016. I was nervous that I had like forgotten how to do it. It was a biggest match of my career, and I felt kind of the less prepared that I've ever been for a match. But I did. If you look at that footage, and then you look at the footage that airs on the Go Big show, I lost 30 pounds in the 4 months between those two things, and I've lost another 30. So I'm slimming and trimming down. But it was a crazy experience that once I got backstage and got into the flow and I remembered how to wrestle again. I remembered how to, I know how to do this. I know what I'm doing. I'm fine. We're good. And everyone was super cool. Like that was the reason why I didn't go full time as a wrestler, was because there was a lot of egos and a lot of like forced respect. There's a lot of like just backstage, like, that goes on at a lot of different wrestling places, and I hate it. It's not fun. I'm not having a good time. And AEW didn't have any of that. It felt like freak show wrestling. It felt like a bunch of friends who were putting on a really cool show together. And that's what I had in the backyard wrestling times, was we were just friends, put on crazy shows for everyone who wanted to come watch, or for news reports or whoever was there. And I've been chasing that kind of experience for so long, and to find it again in AEW was like amazing. It was so much fun. Everyone was super cool. We're talking like Pokemon with with different wrestlers and stuff. Everyone, a lot of people play Pokemon Go and stuff, so we're all chatting about that. And it was great. It was so much fun. We did a skit on being the elite about Snake King, which was a ton of fun. It was something that I wanted to film just on the side for us. And then the guy we filmed it with, Peter, Peter Avalon. He was like, "Well, I'll submit this to being the elite." And I was like, "Oh, all right. Oh, that's right. You guys got like they have like a sketch comedy show, behind the scenes show," which to me is amazing, because you've got so much downtime on these shows. To be able to have a creative outlet like that is so neat.
Right.
So yeah, and the match went, pretty much as planned, and I was super happy with how it went. And they didn't show it in the broadcast, but afterward, Tony Khan ran out with a microphone and was like, "I don't care what Dave Meltzer says, that was a 5-star match."
Nice.
And I thought he was like, because the match, it was a goofy comedy match kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, that's harsh, man. I'm like super like out of breath walking to the back, like, man, he just ripped on us in front of everyone. That's kind of messed up. And then I got backstage, and Tony Khan was like just showering us with praise and like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen selling like that since blah, blah, blah." And he was just like super nice and way into it. And I was like, oh, he wasn't being sarcastic. He meant it. That's awesome. And other people were talking about the match, and we got a lot of praise for it from everyone. And so hopefully we get to go back. That's the fingers crossed we get to show up on AEW again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think if your last performance is any indication, 100% we will see you on AEW again, and that's going to be awesome.
We're hoping so. Fingers crossed. Every day goes by and there's no email in my account. I'm like, oh well, maybe not. Well,
it'll come out.
I guess that's fine.
It'll come out of the blue when you least expect it, right?
That's right.
How it always happens.
That's right.
So, just like the best question, or maybe the toughest question you'll
ever be asked
in
your
whole
life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. And listen, I'm not trying to influence your decision by any means, but there is a right and wrong answer. I'm just saying, if you ask me.
Okay. All right.
He's right. He's right about that. Yes, there is a right and wrong answer.
So as we ask all the guests, and most of the guests, I got to say, have said the right answer because, they were on the right side of history in video games.
All right. Let's not. Okay.
What is the best game or best Mario game of all time? Is it Super Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario World?
And we're gonna need to know why. I want you to defend your answer, because that's the
if you pick the right answer, you don't have to defend it. It's just,
no. We still need to know why, and that's the interesting part. We want to know why
if you pick the right answer.
Mm-hmm. Out of those two,
I think I've got a BS answer. You guys might yell at me for, but it's my answer, so I'm gonna give it.
It's all good.
What were the two choices again?
Super Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario
World.
Okay. Super Mario World is the better game, but my favorite game is Super Mario Bros. 3.
No, he said the right answer.
World is the better crafted game. There's a lot more to it. You've got the Rainbow Road. You've got all these like really cool moments, and Yoshi's awesome, and it's
sure.
But it's also on the Super Nintendo. It's had 10 years of time in between. So like but as a kid, sitting in a movie theater, watching the Wizard.
Yes.
And Super Mario Brothers 3 appears to me for the first time ever. That was the first time I've ever had like an awe-inspiring cinema moment as a child. It was just like, this is the greatest thing ever. And getting it that Christmas in my hand, opening up the wrapping and seeing that yellow box with Mario on there, and he's got he's flying. Like that meant so much more to me than getting my Super Nintendo with the other game. Like the other game is better. Yes, it is. There's a lot more to it, and it's wonderful, and I love it. But Super Mario 3 means more to me.
Okay. I disagree that Super Mario World is the better game, but I love your story.
So no, he had to, you know what? I'm gonna count this as a win. He said the right game first, and then he had to say the other game second.
Well, I think that's a 50-50, Dan. I think that's a 50-50. I think it's a 50-50 right there.
All right, so we're gonna put him on the board. We're gonna put him on the board in the middle. Put him on the line.
Yeah.
Put him on the line in the middle. Okay.
Fair enough. Wow, that's actually interesting
first
too.
Person on the line.
Because I think a lot of people when they talk about games, they factor in the personal experience, and they don't. Right.
Like Dark Souls, I'm not denying and that whole series is amazing. It's great. It's not for me. I hate it.
Yeah.
That kind of, I'm just getting into Hades now, and I love that. That's great.
The art style is amazing. Yeah.
Oh, so beautiful. But yeah, personal preference means so much more. I mean, the game's got to be good, and they're both amazing games. That's not,
right. That's why it's the hardest question you'll ever been asked in your entire life.
Question. Listen, I love Super Mario Brothers 3. I have the same nostalgia as you. Okay, but I understand that Super Mario World is the best Mario game, if not the best game of all time.
From a technical standpoint, all time.
Just know that
it's in the running, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Okay, I'll accept that. That's acceptable.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put a point on it that most of the stuff that's in Super Mario World was birthed in Super Mario Bros. 3. Sans maybe the Rainbow Road bit, and sans maybe Yoshi.
100%, and they perfected it in Super Mario World. And they perfected it.
I mean, 16-bit and all that. So, all right. Well, fair enough.
Well, we can keep going. We're not going to.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, I think we're about out of time, and we thank you for coming on the show.
Of course,
it's been great. Is there anything that you want to promote before you go?
One more time. Yeah. Come on, one more time.
YouTube.com/Leroy Patterson. Look at my gifts. I've got 10.6 billion views so far, and I can use it more. So if you want to do that, Go Big Show. If you're listening to this after the 27th, then go back and watch it. It's going to be awesome. I'm promising you, though, top to bottom, that episode is nuts. There's people crashing cars into stuff. There's like people hanging by their hair. It's going to be awesome. You need to watch it. Nice. And Sneak Kings. The reason we're here is you go on YouTube, look up Sneak Kings with a Z at the end, because we're cool, we're extreme. And check out our journey. Check out us collecting as many copies of the game as we can, as long as it's still funny. Once the joke's not funny anymore, who knows what I'll do with them? But for now, I'm laughing.
It's 3 amazing episodes on YouTube. It's a fun watch from start to finish. Love it. Production value super high. You and your friend are going on a journey. I mean, it's the ultimate road trip to get the ultimate game, sneaking.
Yeah, a fun one to edit. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, nice. So check out Leroy Patterson on the Go Big Show on TBS, right? Coming out on the 27th, right? Check him out on AEW. There's a fantastic performance on there. Check him out on AGT. Check him out on Wipeout. Check him out on the Gong Show. I mean,
just so many great performances. You're gonna find a whole bunch of me in my underwear covered in blood. That's what I'm all about.
There you go.
Now.
All right. So that is episode 302 in the books, folks. We want to thank Leroy for coming on the show again. Thank you. And we want to thank you guys for listening to the show, for liking, commenting, and doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.